We now know that Donald Trump Jr. received a series of emails last June in which he was offered unspecified dirt on Hillary Clinton, dirt he was told would come from the Russian government. Now, Trump Jr. admits taking a meeting with what was described in those emails as a Russian government attorney in order to get that dirt. He maintains, however, he was offered nothing of value. And last night on Fox News, Sean Hannity asked Trump Jr. if, before the meeting, he had been given any indication as to what the information about Hillary Clinton might be, and listen carefully to his answer.
At any point were you told, either in a phone conversation or otherwise, what they might tell you, what Goldstone seemed to be implying you would receive?
No, as I recall, it was all basically this email coordination. Let's try to set up a meeting and see what happens, and that it was going to be interesting information. And, you know, in the end, it wasn't about that at all.
Okay, he says, no, as I recall, it was all basically this email coordination. Basically, no more context. Now, someone saying they had information to provide, and the meeting, which he said was a dud. But NBC News investigative reporter Ken Delaney noticed something interesting. A careful reading of the email chain seems to suggest that Don Jr. in fact did have a conversation on the phone before the meeting with the person in Moscow offering the information, despite claiming he had no such contacts just last night on camera. The emails are between Don Jr. and his acquaintance, Rob Goldstone, and this is during the back and forth setting up the logistics of the meeting. Now, Goldstone references his source. That's the pop singer, real estate developer, Emin Agalarov, right? At 12:40 p.m. on June 6, Goldstone wrote, "Hi, Don, let me know when you are free to talk with Emin by phone about this Hillary info you had mentioned earlier this week, so wanted to try to schedule time and day." That afternoon, 3:03, Don Jr. responds, "Rob, could we speak now?" D. Goldstone responds, half hour later, "Let me track him down in Moscow. What number he could call?" 1 minute later, Don Jr., "Myself, thanks, D." 5 minutes after that, Goldstone, "Okay, he's on stage." That's Emin Agalarov, right? The guy who's at the center of all this. "He's on stage in Moscow, but should be off within 20 minutes, so I'm sure can call." And then nearly an hour passes, and Don Jr. writes, "Rob, thanks for the help." Okay. So what happened during that hour? It appears that there was a phone call. Did the phone call between Don Jr. and Emin take place? That "thanks for the help" an hour after setting up a call suggests that it might have. And then this exchange the next day, Goldstone writes, "Don, hope all is well. Emin asked that I schedule a meeting with you and the Russian government attorney who's flying over from Moscow for this Thursday. I believe you are aware of the meeting. And so wondered if 3 p.m. or later on Thursday worked for you. I assume it would be at your office. I believe you are aware of the meeting." Again, that seems to be a reference to them having some form of communication already, perhaps a phone call, making Don Jr., quote, aware of the meeting. What are they going to give you? What are they going to talk about? Later that day, Don Jr. mentions for the first time the other participants he plans to bring, writing, "Great, it will likely be Paul Manafort, campaign boss, my brother-in-law, and me." I'm joined now by Ken Delaney, he's intelligence national security reporter from NBC News Investigative Unit, Barbara McQuaid, former U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan, professor of law at the University of Michigan. Ken, you noticed this. It sure does look like a phone call happened. We don't know, but it sure looks like it.
It sure does, Chris. It's a logical inference. And why it's important is because Rob Goldstone is not the man with the connections to the Kremlin. Emin Agalarov and his father are the guys that are close to Putin and have high-level connections at the Kremlin. And this could explain a few things. One, the day after this arrangement, this phone call may have taken place, you know, Donald Trump, as you alluded to earlier in the show, gave a speech where he promised later to make some announcement about Hillary Clinton and her dealings. And of course, he never did that, but he was intimating that he had some dirt on Hillary Clinton. The other issue is there's a huge disconnect between the email that very explicitly promises, you know, incriminating information on Hillary Clinton, and the explanation of how this meeting actually, you know, played out with the lawyer who was talking about the Magnitsky Act and adoption, and, you know, Donald Trump Jr. saying, I didn't really get anything. There's no real explanation for that disconnect, and maybe this phone call explains it.
Barbara, you were a prosecutor, federal prosecutor. What would you want to see if you had subpoena power right now, and if you could just pull records? What would you want to see in the wake of this?
Yeah, so, all we really have is one little nugget about this whole scenario. So what you'd want to do is get as much information as you can around it to see what else happened around the circumstances. So, number one, getting the telephone records of Donald Trump Jr. might be one way to confirm whether there were additional phone calls. You can't get the content of those calls after the fact, but you could at least determine whether those calls occurred. That could be helpful. I'd want to talk to Rob Goldstone as well. Now, he, of course, is a British national, so you can't just use your subpoena to pull him in. But we do have treaties with the British government, so an interview could be arranged through that mechanism. So I'd want to find out as much as I can about all the things that led up to this. I'd also want to find out about what happened afterwards. Were there any subsequent meetings? Were there subsequent emails? So I would also be using a search warrant to try to get the content of the emails between Donald Trump, Jared Kushner, Paul Manafort, Goldstone, all of these players.
Yeah, Ken, to Barbara's point about what happened after, that to me is the part of the story that we're getting now that seems a little unresolved, right? So let's say if everything that Donald Jr. is saying is true, that they go to this meeting, it's weird and disappointing and doesn't involve what he thought. Do you just let it go? Do you email Goldstone and say, hey, what the heck was that? You wasted my time. You made me look bad in front of Paul Manafort. There's a lot that you would imagine would happen after that other than just a shrug.
Absolutely. And there are so many unanswered questions. One is, when Don Jr. gets the email about the Russian government effort to help your father, he doesn't respond, what effort?
That's right.
So he's acting like he understands there is such an effort. And then there is, again, this disconnect between this very explicit promise of help and what they're saying was kind of a nothing burger.
Barbara, did you that line in the email, did that read the same way to you? A lot of people have been talking about this. He says, the Russian effort to help your father, part of that effort, it's not introduced as a new thing. Like, here's some crazy bombshell news, bruh. The Russian government is going to try to help to get your dad elected. It's just mentioned.
Yeah, I think that's one way to read it. When you think about what Mueller's mission is really here is a quest for the truth. And although I think people want to see accountability for anyone who's committed crimes here, the really bigger quest for truth that we want is what was the Russian government up to in this counterintelligence investigation? What were they doing? What was their game? And that quest for truth is what Robert Mueller will want to know. So he's going to want to know about all of this. Were there activities that predated this in this effort to undermine the Clinton campaign?
And Ken, I can't help but note the irony of we went through an entire campaign in which we read a lot of people's emails. We got into everyone's inboxes. We read a ton of emails that the secretary sent that were turned over to the State Department pursuant to the law. We read criminally exfiltrated emails from the DNC and from John Podesta. This is the first time that we've read an email from the Trump campaign on the inside. Voluntarily disclosed. It does make you wonder what else is in those inboxes.
It absolutely does. And I'll tell you, in the absence of hard facts, what we've gotten is a lot of speculation from current and former intelligence officials. But what's interesting to me is they all see this the same way. They say that this is right out of the Russian playbook. They believe this is a dangle. This was Russian intelligence trying to see how the Trump team would respond to this offer of assistance.
Yeah.
And as it turned out, if you believe the accounts of the meeting, it wasn't much of an offer in practice. But what they showed is that they were eager for more.
All right, Ken Delaney and Barbara McQuaid, thank you for making time.